I didn't even take my time to do the match reaction because I knew to it that people really had different reactions. But I was really so much touched with Garnacho, his brother, and Ruben Amorim on as to why he started this guy ahead of Mason Mount. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. And we're here to bring you the latest news and information as far as everything is really concerned in here onto a beautiful channel. And Rio Ferdinand also has something to say about this, but Alejandro Garnacho and his brother furious at Amorim, and Amorim has their answer. By the way, very many people have come up and obviously had lots of things to say about this Amorim deal. So let's wait and see how things really pan out and how everything is obviously gonna be really understood by you and what explanation I have for the club and me as the person behind United Matters channel. So firstly, we're really having Garnacho's statement. Until the final, I played every round helping the team. Then the final arrives and I play 20 minutes only. I don't know. The final, the season, the whole situation of the club, I'll try to enjoy the summer and then we will see what happens. That's what Alejandro Garnacho went ahead to say. He added and said it's difficult for us all. This season has been shit. We lost the final. We didn't beat anyone in the Premier League. It's very difficult. So that's what he put out. And you would understand, you know, that when United was playing, which game did people last play in the Premier League? In that game, when you're really playing in the Premier League, you remember that Manchester United went ahead to really get beaten, right? United was beaten by Chelsea 1-0, and the manager said that game has gone ahead to obviously show him exactly who would start and who wouldn't start in the final. And we never knew to it that he was pointing at Alejandro Garnacho, because I think Garnacho was one of those players that did the needful, but the manager never started him. And I tell you, you know what he really does, especially when he is really given that confidence. But for Ruben Amorim's side, you will understand, but very many questions will obviously be raised. That the way you picked the lineup was really a little bit, I think, shaky. When you're playing Tottenham Hotspur with Bentancur, Pametasa and Besuma in the midfield, how do you play Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in the double pivot? Yet we're really having Ugarte, and for all of the success we've gone ahead to get, those two have always gone ahead obviously act like they've gone ahead to know each other into that double pivot. You understand? So I tell you one thing, that Garnacho is right, because I think if Mount had gone ahead obviously with the needful in that game, would have gone ahead to say the manager was right. But what gave Garnacho the confidence to come out and obviously put out that statement? It's because, one, Mason Mount never really appeared. You know, he was a passenger or a pedestrian into that game of football. There is nothing that he did. And I think in games like this, you rather start Garnacho and read the system of the manager, and then you bring on Mason Mount because of his experience, and because of his experience he can obviously change the game. But you saw to it that apart from running around like a headless chicken, nothing notable was done by this guy. So, but before all of that came to pass, the brother of Alejandro Garnacho took to his Instagram and said, working as no one else, helping every round, coming from two goals, last two finals, just to be on the pitch 19 minutes and get thrown under the bus. Wowe, Haja Haja. So the brother of Alejandro Garnacho was the first, obviously, come up and really throw his jab at the manager. You understand? And it was like, if you look at the two finals that United last played, one when we beat Man City in the FA Cup, I think Alejandro Garnacho scored the opener. Even in the Community Shield, he came and scored a beauty, for the club of Manchester United. We took the lead, though I think it was Bernardo Silva who leveled in that game, and then later went to penalties, and United lost on penalties. So his brother is like, this guy has been really turning around things in every final that United is going to hate to play. And where do you get the audacity not to start him? And that was the question that needed a very big answer. That is through from the man known as Roba, the brother to Alejandro Garnacho. So, the manager himself, Ruben Amorim, on not starting Alejandro Garnacho, came up with a statement and said, it's easy to say that now. Who missed the big opportunity in the first half, in the semi-final? Garnacho. Football is like that. But I understand that he's going to be looked at as the man to blame. But for me, I don't have any problem with Ruben Amorim. All I want is to see United having a manager here for 5 years. All what I was requesting in from the board to do for Erik ten Hag is what I'm requesting for the club to do for Ruben Amorim. If Ruben Amorim really wants... if you want to see a very huge turnaround at the club of Manchester United, Ruben Amorim has to come up and obviously keep himself at the club of Manchester United. So, if he's not being kept on the job, that will be really very, very, very bad for me as Rock and David in here onto the United manager, because I know what is obviously going to change this club and the culture is to really have a manager to phase out other players that we think are not really ready to do the job. So I think us not qualifying for the Champions League was really a blessing these guys, because we now have a chance to really build. We're not looking at the Champions League that you're going to compete, We are not going to play in the Champions League. We're not going to compete in Europa League. We are not going to compete in the Conference League, right? All you have to do is wait and see who comes in through. And I would go in for players of a stature of people like Patrick Dogu, one. Then Aiden Heaven, Diego Leon, players of that caliber. And I wouldn't like to see us going in for players who exceed 40 million euros. But for Cunha, he's a special player. If we can get him, it will be a very good addition to the club of Manchester United, because he's a mal-purposeful player and he's not an injury-prone player. Now, Rio Ferdinand, on Alejandro Garnacho not starting the game of football, he said, you can say what you want about this final move and he's finishing, but he brings that threat and that stretches teams, and we haven't seen Spurs like that at any time. So, obviously, we all admit that Garnacho is one of those players that can obviously turn things around, and he can obviously put the opponent's defense onto tenterhooks, and we never really saw anyone doing it apart from Amadi Diallo, and we all believe that if we had Garnacho and Amadi Diallo on the pitch, it would have gone ahead to serve a better purpose than how it is served when you only had Amadi Diallo. So I think Garnacho is right to really react. I don't know what the manager is going to be saying about that, because everyone is pinning him for that decision to not play a guy known as Alejandro Garnacho and not start him. And the other reason or the other blame that has been shifted to the manager is not getting in the player on time. He brought him on around the 70th minute, and they're asking, according to how Mason Mount was performing, why would the manager play him all those minutes? That is the most important bit of it all. So guys, I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about Garnacho furious at Ruben Amorim, and I think the fall apart has been triggered anytime from now. So we're here, wait and see how things are really going to be panning out. Your reactions are really going to be hugely welcome into the comment section below. Rock and David is my name. We out. Bye bye.